No one is exempt. To security agencies, all relevant agencies, including the Nigerian Police Force and the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, must intensify intelligence gathering and the surveillance around campuses, dismantle recruitment networks and supply chain of illicit drugs, ensure visible enforcement and a swift response to threats, partner with the university for continuous security audit, university authority. The institution must move beyond policy to active enforcement, establish a functional anti-cultism drug monitoring task force, introduce compulsory orientation programs on the dangers of cultism and the drug abuse, enforce strict discipline measures without compromise, provide counseling and rehabilitation pathway for affected students.
I've been told to speak on quality responsibility. Reporting a threat to law enforcement isn't just a paperwork. It's about stopping the harm and protecting both your very self and the wider society before it gets escalated. By that I mean that it is very key that you report any threats from any quarters to law enforcement before it gets out of hand. Because a threat you feel it's not important might snowball into a very large situation that you cannot handle as a person. Imperative of reporting threat to law enforcement. Number one, prevention and public safety. A threat you think is empty can escalate fast, and law enforcement has a duty to investigate whether it is credible or not. That's what I was saying. That you never can tell. If somebody tells you that, look, tomorrow a particular place will be overrun, you have a duty to report that to law enforcement. It is the duty of the law enforcement agency to investigate and find out whether or not it is true that such an event might take place. And in doing that, you never can know how many people you can serve in the process of making that report. When threats are taken seriously or investigated, it sends a signal that this behavior has consequences. Like I've said, if a report of drug addiction is reported and then police takes active part, or maybe police arrest the culprit and probably send them to court and they get conviction, any other person that sees it might take precaution. If you don't report and something happened, you could face liability in some situation, especially if you had a duty to do so.
For us to understand the impact of accidents, otherwise what we prefer to call them crashes. We call them crashes because these are avoidable phenomenon, issues that happen which we know we can ordinarily avoid. That's why we choose to call them crashes. By way of in my introduction, you all know that lives have been lost. We lose lives on the highways. And when crashes happen, some persons who are fortunate not to die may end up having scars. Some will have loss of memories. Some will lose valuables, properties, and other essentials. These crashes don't just happen. There are costs by people who use this road. Everybody has a role to play. The driver, the governments, the law enforcers, the passengers, and others. So we have roles to play so that we'll be able to reduce crashes, which may lead to deaths, which may lead to injuries. It is on record that over 85% of crashes we've recorded in the past are attributed to speeding, because we place more premium on this, because once you are able to curtail your speed, even if there is danger, you'll be able to manage that vehicle. And that's why we keep on reaching out to people, even you as students who are here to drive, and roles to play. As you are being conveyed in a vehicle, you have rights to your own life. To speak out so that someone will not kill you, and I will pray that you will not be killed. The mistakes could come in maybe for forgetfulness. That's the errors. And I mentioned over speeding or speeding. It is a human error. And instead of focusing solely on changing drivers' behavior, the safe system approach builds layers of protection so that mistake doesn't result to a fatality. In case of crash that happens almost every time, if it happens, let it not lead to crash. That's what a safe system approach talks about.
In my line of work, I have seen too many third persons who never made it to that stage. Instead of graduation gown, they wore a body bags. Instead of certificate, their parents received a police report. I didn't come here today to arrest you. I came here to rescue your future. They told you cultism is about brotherhood. But I've ever seen a brotherhood, a brother shoot another over a color. They promise you protection. But how can a group protect you when its very existence makes you a target for the police? Rival gangs, an early grave. In the first, we call cultism the great deceiver. It gives you 5 minutes of fake power in exchange for 50 years of real life. In Anambra State, the law has evolved under the anti-cultism law of 2024. The grace period is over. We aren't just looking for those with guns. We are looking for those who provide rooms, those who share the flyers, and those who fly the colors. To the law, you are either a student or a criminal. You cannot be both. Peaceful graduation is not an accident. It is a deliberate strategy. Audit your circle. Know your friends. Tell me your friends and I will do what? Good. Use the police as an ally through the police campaign against cultism and other vices. I want you to visualize your graduation day. Imagine your mother in her finest wrapper, your father beaming with pride as you toss your cap into the air. That moment is a sacred contract between you and those who sacrifice to send you here.
True progress can only flourish in an atmosphere of safety, order, and responsibility. Safety culture refers to the attitudes, values, beliefs, and actions that make people place importance on protecting lives and preventing harm. It is seen when people follow safety procedures, respect human life, avoid unnecessary risks, prepare for emergencies, take responsibility for others, and report dangers before harm occurs. Safety culture means doing what is right before something goes wrong. Across the world, developed institutions and successful nations treat safety as a priority. For example, universities with emergency response systems, industries with strict safety procedures, airports with detailed safety protocols, hospitals with rapid emergency plan, workplaces where prevention is part of daily operations. These examples show that no society can achieve sustainable development while neglecting safety.
A university or a campus is more than just a place for academic activities. It's a community like any other environment. First, students must understand that security is everyone's responsibility. How can we achieve that? It is not solely the duty of the campus security or the head of this newly created unit to ensure that things are going the way it's supposed to be in the school for you to learn. We must ensure that we contribute our own quota. How can we do that? Whatever you see, don't keep quiet. Mention it. One of the rules that is most important for students to play is be very, very observant. I want to set an example. We are like 1 hour or 2 hours in this place. But if I ask somebody that, look behind you now, how many people are sitting? I don't think if I can get 10 people that will answer this question. So you need to be very observant of your closed environment. Then another important role that students must play is that timely and responsible reporting of incidents. It can be fire outbreak, it can be quarreling between two students, it can be any irregular activities that will hinder or activate any violence that will render any activities in the school that is not warranted. Today we are in digital world. Another role that students are supposed to play is that cyber awareness and online conduct. Very, very important. Most of our life now, we depend on this digital gadget. Okay, how do we use them? Are we using them responsibly or we are abusing them? It's only sleep that makes us to go away from those devices.
What is security? Security can be said to mean absence of a threat or protection of life and properties. Can we achieve 100% security in a society? And then the answer is capital no. So there are prevalent crimes which we have identified in the university, and they include: 1, cultism. We have the issue of theft and burglary, violent crimes, killings, rape, violent interference by masquerade, especially during the Imwaka festival and other festivals within and around the university environment. Then exam malpractices. Of course, the penalty for exam malpractice may be rustication, or you'll be asked to withdraw for 1 or 2 years. And when such happens, the lecturer that caught you during that exam malpractice is at risk. So that's why we classify it as one of the crimes, prevalent in the university. Then we have advanced fee fraud, which is Yahoo, as well as abuse. We have also tried to identify some black spots. Then we have a place called the downtown. I don't know if that place still exists. there's a residential area. It's a meeting point for axemen. And when we have Otoko, we have the Vikings confraternity. That used to be a safe haven for those criminal elements.
Emergencies do not send invitations. They happen in hostel, in lecture halls, market, and on our roads. And when they do, your first response can be the difference between life and death. What is emergency? An emergency is any sudden, unexpected situation that poses an imminent threat to life, property, health, or the environment, and also that requires urgent action. There are key characteristics of emergency. One, suddenness. Emergency does not give prior warning, especially fire, collapse, and gas explosion. Two, emergency constitute threat to life. They are constitute dangers to people, property, or operations. Emergency requires urgency. Normal procedures cannot handle it. Therefore, you must act now. The types of emergency we may face on campus are categorized into one, fire. We can have fire incident in the hostel due to hostel electrical faults, lab chemical, or bush burning. We can also have medical emergency in the campus like stampede, asthmatic attack, snake bite, food poisoning. We can also have security emergency in the school like car clashes, armed robbery, kidnapping attempt, protest turn violent. We can also have a national emergency in the campus like building collapse, flooding, and windstorm. We can also have infrastructure emergency like gas leakage, structural failure, or power surge. And finally, public health emergency can come in the campus like disease outbreak, contamination of water source, etc. And when these things happen, what are we expected to do? We follow a 4-step cycle. And one of them is what? Mitigation and prevention. We prefer to reduce the chances of emergency happening than allowing it to happen. Example, as a student, you know that when you overload their sockets in their hostel, then why do that? And that is why we always preach prevention is better than the cure. You can also report to the appropriate authority if you notice any exposed wire on your route to school. The second point is preparedness. Get ready before it happens. Know your hostel exits. I think one of the lecturers said something about that, knowing your environment. Save emergency numbers and also attend drills if called. The third one is response. Actions during emergency to save lives are called response. When emergency happens, the first thing to do is to evacuate, call for help, and apply first aid if you are trained. And the final one is recovery. After the emergency, we go back to recovery. That is returning to normal life after. You can equally engage the services of counseling, rebuilding, and learning lessons.
Safety as the state of being protected from harm, danger, risk, or injuries. It is now our collective effort or duties to protect and be secure from harm. In the path of emergency, after putting all the preventive measures on the ground, information must be free and accessible to enable the involvement of the police, whose paramount duties is to save lives and properties, to assist and control the emergencies and other security imbalances therein.
For your outstanding dedication and selfless service to our community, your efforts inspire us all. This 28th day of April 2026. Congratulations.
Give it to the people, we demand it.